Al-Haytham wakes up in a cold sweat, the searing sun lighting against his face. He remembers taking a step into the deserts of Sumeru, but he doesn't remember anything at all after that. He takes a look at his weapon, and it seems to have been recently used, with scratch marks all over. What happened? How did he get so far into the desert? Why was he here? He asked himself these questions. He just assumes he got knocked out by a thief, and starts heading back home, looking for his keys. What he finds instead is a crumpled piece of paper. It was a missing poster. Tighnari had gone missing for almost 2 days now, with him last being spotted leaving the academia. In Gandharvaville, Kale is worried sick for her master, but waits patiently for him to return. Heading back to rest, she sees something absolutely horrible. Her heart started beating fast, and grief instantly consumed her. Later the day, the characters of Sumeru meet up, with their apparently having a special announcement. Everyone feels nervous and tense while waiting for it to start. Sino angrily walks in the room and breaks the silence by revealing that Tighnari was eliminated by someone. The forest watcher had grown a plant using his vision that supposedly tells him his conditions. If the flower is still blooming, he's alive and well. If the flower decayed, he was eliminated by natural means, and if it was cut down, he was eliminated by someone. Well, that's what Kale told him after hearing her cries. She also mentioned that her master had hoped that the flower would live for a long time, so she could always take care of Kale. It was truly a great tragedy that saddened everyone in the room. Nilu asks where Kale is now, and Sino replies that she didn't want to come, being too sad to face anyone, and locked herself up in her room. It must be very hard for her. Candace gets angry and vows to find justice to who eliminated Tighnari, and they all agree to help solve this case. To start things off, Al-Haytham asks everyone what was their last interaction with the victim. Nilu mentions that she last remembers seeing him watching her performance. He came to the theater wanting to learn more about the art of dancing, and asks her some very thought-provoking questions. What is the purpose or goal of dancing? Do you feel like time stops or moves faster when on the stage? What music should accompany dance? Are just some of his questions. She got slightly embarrassed, as she didn't fully know the answer herself, but did her best. Faruzan notes that although they didn't really interact, she noticed something strange. Tighnari had been spying on her, or at least observing her. She was deactivating an ancient machine at that time, but she didn't think much of it, and thought he was just amazed by her knowledge. She eventually calls him, but he was gone by that time. Perhaps he was busy, and was just passing by. Dori mentions that Tighnari has been buying some unusual stuff from her recently, and pulls out a list of the things he has bought. Sakura blooms, unagi meat, seagrass, knackwweed, electro-crystal flies, a cookbook, and he wanted a live jellyfish that was very difficult to deliver. Al-Haytham asks on why would he possibly need to buy those things, and Dori replies that she has no idea. It's not her business to pry on what people are doing with her products. She just provides them for a good price, of course. Daya wonders on how could Tighnari have possibly bought those things that must have cost a fortune. The shipping payment alone is insane. They then notice that someone has been awfully quiet, and realizes that Layla had fallen asleep. She quickly wakes up and apologizes for sleeping in such a situation. It's just that she hasn't slept in days now. She's been very busy with work, and later excuses herself from the meeting, needing to adequately prepare for her experiments that will take place the day after tomorrow, or else she might fail her class. Telling everyone good luck in solving the case. Before she goes, Sino tells her to be careful, and hands her a bag full of mora. He tells her that she should commission the Eremites to help her with the experiments, and protect her. Is from the pattern so far, students of the academia seem to be in danger. The bag should have the fees necessary for them to prioritize her, and it also has the name of the Eremites to contact. Daya also joins Layla, just to be safe. She sincerely thanks both of them, and the two leave. After a little more talking, the group decides to split up to cover more ground. Candace, Nilu, and Faruzan will go to Tighnari's place to see if they can find any more clues there. Meanwhile, Sino wants to show Al-Haytham something, special documents, that might be related to the murder. He wants his opinion on the matter. The next day, in Gandharvaville, they find Tainari's stuff, but they see nothing of note. They just find research about plants, and other miscellaneous botany stuff. Nilu feels something is wrong, because the room feels way too normal. Candace notes that it is strange that they didn't see anything about dancing, nor about the stuff he bought from Dori. There must be another place. They then reluctantly go to Kale's home to ask about her master, and she answers. It was difficult for her to think, but she tried her best, wanting to know why her master was eliminated. She says that she doesn't know anything about another lab, but she did notice that after their usual expedition, her master would go somewhere deep in the forest, and usually wouldn't come back until midnight. When asked about it, he would just say it's none of her business, and to not worry about him. She tried following him once, but she couldn't get through the entrance, and eventually lost track of where he went. Kale then marks the general vicinity of where he goes, hoping it helps. They sincerely thank her, and the girls follow the mark on the map. When they got there, they were surprised to find that there was a hidden domain inside. The entrance is locked by multiple ancient contraptions, so no wonder Kale couldn't get in. Thankfully, they have Faruzan to solve the ancient puzzle. After a few minutes, it opens. It was a piece of cake, she says. And the group enters. There were scattered notes and scientific equipment everywhere that just seemed like gibberish to them. The place is in really bad shape, with claw marks all over the wall and equipment. What caught their eye was in the center of the room, there was a knowledge capsule with a special and different color emitting from it. They were amazed about what it could possibly have contained, and out of curiosity, Faruzan tries to grab it. Out of nowhere, all of them fell unconscious. Meanwhile, Sino and Al-Haytham are inside the Sumeru Academia. Sino had found Layla's research papers that was hidden behind her desk, and the topic of it disgusts him. He angrily shows it to the scholar. She had been researching about something that was forbidden from the academia, and it was clear that Sino was mad about this. She had been looking at ways on how to live longer, on how to basically live for eternity, even going so far as to research about the gods. Al-Haytham is speechless, but questions why he is showing him this. It doesn't seem to correlate to the murder. Sino just says it is so that he wouldn't get in his way next time, and leaves in a hurry. This didn't really clear things up for Al-Haytham, but after taking a closer look at Layla's research, it seems that something is wrong. It just feels off, and he decides to look into it further. It is now 2 days after the meeting. Layla had finally finished after a day of experimenting, and heads to her secret hiding place to rest. The eremites say they have to leave, as they have to report to someone, and she dismisses them. Before Dea also goes, she reveals something to her about the possible murderer. She was trustworthy and reliable during their entire trip, and she needed for someone to know. She believes it might be Al-Haytham who did it. In the past, right around the time Tainari was eliminated, she had spotted him deep in the desert, holding his weapon, and it really seemed like he was in a fight. She didn't want to reveal it in the meeting, fearing that Al-Haytham might strike her next, but in the same time, she had to tell this information. Layla ends their conversation by saying that she can do whatever she wants with the knowledge she provided. Back to the hidden laboratory. Nilu finally wakes up, but when she looks around, no one else was there. She panics, wondering where could have the other two gone, immediately thinking she might be next, and runs away from the place. Before she goes, she quickly glances back at the laboratory, and notices that the knowledge capsule had disappeared. It must have been stolen. Nilu also grabs whatever stuff she comes across as proof, and leaves the scene. Outside, she thinks to herself that she must report what happened as soon as possible, but suddenly, a group of fungus attack her that just appeared in front of her. She must have triggered a trap. Who is the actual murderer of Tainari? What might happen next? To be continued. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe and like if you ended up enjoying this video, and subscribe with notifications to be instantly notified as soon as I upload part 2. Bye.